Hey there, friends. Brian King here. I had a wonderful conversation with one of my clients yesterday via text because that's how I do a lot of my coaching, and it's beautifully convenient and effective. And what this client was sharing with me is how when he has his more anxious moments, how he seems to have this bit of a battle going on in terms of his internal dialogue. He has this critical voice that's telling him that he's stupid and can't do anything right. And then he has the other voice that says, well, don't listen to that. You know, you're really good. You're catching on here. You're doing great things. And the negative voice, which is much more protective and appeals to that part of us that likes to play it safe, can sometimes win out and gain a little bit more influence. So he was kind of caught in the middle with, hey, how do I sort this out? How do I shut this other voice down? How do I know what to listen to? And I coached him through figuring it out on his own, as opposed to just telling him what to think, because that doesn't serve anyone. And what he essentially concluded was that he needs to listen to the voice that's in service of his goals, that's going to get him closer to the outcomes he wants. He wants to feel more confident. He wants to feel more competent at his work. He wants to be less anxious and more resourceful. So clearly the voice that's cheering him on, instead of calling him stupid, is the one he needs to listen to. And if you want to shut down that other critic, you do two things. You acknowledge it, because there's a rule out there that what you resist persists. What you ignore, what you deny, just stays in the background and creates all kinds of havoc. So you need to address it. So you acknowledge the negative voice and you say, hey, I hear you. And in your world, you've got a point. But right now, you don't help me. I'm going to focus on this other voice. So go off and be quiet somewhere. Now you can get back to the voice that's supporting you, saying, okay, what can you learn from this experience instead of beating yourself up? Yeah, I made a mistake. What's good about this? What does this make possible? How can I turn this into something useful so I can keep moving forward and keep growing? Notice I threw a couple of powerful questions in there that make use of whatever you might ordinarily deem to be a negative experience can now be turned through a little bit of cognitive alchemy into something that you can use. Peggy said, where does the evil voice come from? Well, it comes from a couple places. It comes from very frightened parents who are always trying to protect us as little kids, saying, don't touch that hot stove. What are you, stupid? Hey, why do I have to tell you 1,000 times? Are you deaf? And parents are typically very well-intended when they're looking to support us, but they also act from fear and anxiety and don't always catch themselves when they're talking like that, so they can't go back and apologize and correct it. So, Peggy, it's important for you to do a little introspection and ask yourself, whose voice is that? Or is there somebody in your life that is known to use similar language? Or that voice is just from your own fear and anxiety, and you're using a voice that's going to protect you and prevent you from taking risks so you don't experience pain. But as we know, in order to stretch and grow, there needs to be some discomfort. So hopefully that's a little bit, yeah, my mother too, Peggy. I totally hear you. Maybe we can talk about how to unlearn that voice at some point. But the long and short of this is that you can turn that negative voice, if you don't want to just shut it off and switch back to the more supportive voice, you can turn that voice into something that's much more empowering. Like I mentioned, asking the questions, what's good about this? What does this make possible? So that you can feed your momentum, feed your enthusiasm towards continuing to push forward and grow and learn and get better at what you're doing. So it's amazing how one simple shift can make all the difference in the world, isn't it? And often that's typically all you need. A shift here, a shift there. It doesn't have to be some magnificent shift that totally upsets the course of your life. Just a little turn makes a big difference. So with that, I need to go jump on a call. I hope this has been helpful for you. If so, let me know. And by all means, share it with somebody who can benefit from it as well. Till next time, this has been Brian. Take care.